Welcome, everybody, to Big Show on the FM, the podcast. My name is Joey.
I'm Jackie.
We are excited. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to our latest episode. Don't forget to follow the Big Show on the FM. Follow us on Instagram, Big Show FM, and don't forget to click subscribe on YouTube as well. Join us in our conversations as we invite our friends to join us on the couch and talk about all the cool stuff that they got going on and some fun that we're having here on the Big Show on the FM.
That's right. We're in our little humble area of California Street. So If you know where that's at, that's our hood here at the station. And so that's why you see all the satellites in the back and all that fun stuff. Just touching on it just in case this is the first time you're watching it.
Yes, and today we are excited. A very special guest that came into our lives
He's been in our lives, but he had the right, I don't know.
The vision.
He was God sent. Yeah, for sure.
The vision that we needed. And he showed up at a farmer's market one day when I wasn't even supposed to be there.
No, you weren't. That was funny.
And the stars have aligned, and we have an amazing friend with us joining us today. We got the one and only Leo Sanchez is joining us today.
Welcome. Yeah, no, I just said welcome. I don't know. I'm used to being behind the camera.
Leo, all these podcasts, he is the one behind the camera, the one doing all the hard work and everything. And so now you're on the opposite side. How does it feel? Does it feel weird?
It does. Honestly, when it comes to being in front of the camera, it's very hard for me.
Yes.
Because I'm used to being behind the camera. I'm used to just, filming and taking content for other people.
Yes.
And so being in front of the camera, I'm just like, when you guys texted me and said you guys were wanting me to be on here, I'm like, all right, I had to prepare myself.
Yes.
And so
I get it, Leo. I have always been the one that's does the pictures. I'm not professional like you, but I'm amateur when it comes to cameras and stuff, and I'm always the one taking all the family photos, everything. So this was uncomfortable for me for a bit, but I understand what you're going through right now. Yeah.
And Leo, you were so convincing because when you told us you guys need to be in front of the camera, and we're both like, I don't know, I'm kind of fail. I don't know if I should be in front of the camera, but it's kind of opened up. I feel a little bit more comfortable now, and then you kind of guiding us in the direction.
Right.
It really has I don't know, there's this weight that has come off our shoulders, and man, you just make everything so much easier for us.
For real. So Leo, tell us a little bit about you. Give us a little bit of your background. Are you from this area?
Yeah. So my wife actually gets. She laughs at when I say this, but I'm from LA, California.
Yes.
I use it. I was born in LA.
Yes. You have to.
I was raised here in Las Cruces, New Mexico. My parents moved out here when I was 3 years old. And so, I was born over there. I tell people I was born north of Compton. Inside of Martin Luther King Hospital.
How cool.
So I'm from Compton in a sense.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Straight out of Compton, everybody.
But no, my parents moved out here and been here ever since. I'm 32 years old and, just went to Camino for middle school, went to Oñate for high school. So it's cool that you've been at Oñate.
Yes, exactly. Class of 2000.
Yeah. It's great. It's the connection of everybody in this community knows people.
Connections. Have you noticed, Leo? Because my dad's side of the family's all from California, the Downey area. It seems like Las Cruces has a lot of California connections. A lot of California transplants moved to Las Cruces for some reason.
Yeah, well, I was working at a regular retail shop, selling DirecTV Dish and all that for 9 years, and in the past, I think 10 years, I've seen a lot of people move from the East Coast and the West Coast, mainly the West Coast, to Las Cruces. And so it was honestly, I think it's just, they market it as a retirement place, and so I think that's what
they're all moving here.
Exactly.
Nice.
And just the love that Las Cruces has for their community and everybody. That's one of the reasons why when I moved out here in 2004, and just it's the sense of community that you always want.
Yeah.
And I mean, now I've started my family here, and I don't see us leaving anytime soon.
So Leo, out of, say you just graduated high school, we're going back to, did you know exactly what you wanted to do once you got out of high school?
No, so I actually wanted to become a cop.
Oh, nice.
I wanted to go into criminal justice. That was the thing that I wanted to do. But I started working at a Pickwick back in the day when all the Pickwicks were, Circle K's were Pickwicks.
If you know what Pickwick is, you definitely are from Las Cruces.
Exactly. And so working at Pickwick, I started doing graveyards, and I would work with some people there, and it was a hub for a lot of the police department. And so I remember talking with them and saying, hey, what do you think of, being a cop and this and that? He goes, well, it's great, but, it's a lot. And they're like, honestly, you probably don't want to do it. And it was very like, they discouraged me to not do it. And I did go to college for one semester of psychology as well, because I was like wanting to go in that area as well. And it never worked out for me. School wasn't really the best thing for me. I didn't like it. I tell a lot of people this, that I was supposed to graduate of 2010, of the year of 2010. I had to stay another year and a half. My counselor literally told me, hey man, you either drop out right now because you really aren't going to be able to get it done, or you stay for another year and a half with this new program that we just opened up. It's going to be on-site online schooling, and maybe one class in school where you're just there for another year and a half till you build up your credits. And I was like, okay, I didn't want to drop out. So I ended up just doing the whole year and a half. And it's crazy because as soon as I graduated, I didn't even walk, because I was like, I don't even know the people I'm going to walk with.
Yeah.
And when I got my diploma, I was like, cool, I got it done. And then I found out that the class that they opened up, or the online classing, they closed it down right after.
Oh, wow.
It was like,
It was meant for you. That's what it
Honestly,
was. How
honestly.
crazy.
And it's amazing how stuff like that lines up. And, as we're, having our conversations, there's often times where a lot of things line up for you, and things that position that seem to be like it's pointing you in that
I think
direction.
we all certain callings, we're supposed to be in.
Yeah.
And so you could fight it, but you're going to end up doing what you need to do.
yeah.
So what led you to ultimately getting into, getting behind the camera?
Yeah.
Like what got you started in that?
So I think it happened. I actually was looking on YouTube the other day, about almost 10 years ago. Drones were kind of a new thing, and I had this big drone. My boss at the time, he did a deal where if we made a certain amount of sales, me and my friend were going to get this drone, and it was like a $1,400 drone. And we're like, dude, like, all right, we got it done. We got the drones, and we ended up launching. A lot of people don't know this, but we launched a YouTube channel called Fly Brothers.
Fly Brothers.
Fly Brothers.
Okay.
And so
cool.
me and him, we went out, started doing some footage on YouTube. We would just record the drone, edit on a computer with iMovie back in the day, and it just started doing a little creative stuff. We did the Renaissance fair that they have at the Youngs Park. We did some downtown stuff. We did a tour of Las Cruces, which was just showcasing like Sonoma Ranch, Youngs Park, the mall area. And that video hit almost 25,000 views. And and to this day, I see some comments still on there. And it was just like something that I was just kind of entertaining. I'm like, wow, this is cool. This is fun. But my friend ended up moving away. And I was just me, and I just, kind of follow. I didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that I wanted to do. At the time, I was dating this girl, and I started doing YouTube videos, now another channel of me, vlogging, doing all that stuff. And that's when I got into it a little bit more, because I had a camera. I had bought my first camera, and it was nice, being in front of the camera. I was in front of the camera at the time, so I was, and not behind the scenes.
When we're younger, it's a little easier for some reason. I don't know why. I get that.
And so I ended up doing some vlogs, doing some stuff. I go back and look at it, and it's very cringe, because I'm like, why did I even say
That's how
stuff?
MySpace is for me.
Yeah. That's why I'm glad VHS are not a thing, because I would hate to find old video cassettes of us.
I know a guy who can get that changed into...
Don't tell him, because he is going to show up to work one day.
He's going to help me. We already talked about this.
Shout outs to Martin, because he loves his physical media. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you did start off as a person that was doing vlogs, and then eventually it morphs into, camera. And,
Yes.
And so what, did you become the person that just started carrying the camera with you everywhere?
So I had a problem with consistency. And what happened is I started a YouTube channel, and then I started another one with another friend. And then I was like, I don't know what I was doing. I was just creating stuff. And then I think a few years later, I ended up, some stuff happened in my life 6 years ago, actually, and it caused me to start going to church. I tell this story all the time, but the drone footage that we were doing, we did a video of the high schools, and it was just showcasing the high schools, right? And I remember when I was going through my stuff, everything that happened to me, I just felt like God tell me, hey, go to church. I'm like, okay. Somebody had invited me to this church 2 years prior. And so I just went to this church. It was over there at Las Cruces first, the one by the Highway 70. And I walk in, and usually I go to the English, but I stopped in the Spanish. I don't know why. I don't I'm gonna go in Spanish. Walk in, and they do intro videos, right? And in the intro video, I see a clip of my video.
Wow.
I see the video footage. I see the drone footage, and I'm like, that's my video. What is it doing on the screen?
Oh, cool.
And so I walked in. You know, I waited till after the service was over. I talked to the pastor, which is my pastor now, and it was so funny because till this day, he was just telling the story recently. He thought that I was coming to tell him, hey man, take down that video or pay me. Because he thought I was gonna like say something because he took my footage, right? But no, I was like, actually, thank you for using it because it caused me to really just, this is where I need to be. Yeah. And so he told me to keep coming to church every week, and I was doing it and all that, and a lot of stuff happened in my life. But about 3-4 months later, I got plugged into the media team. And that really is where a lot of this stuff came about, because in the media team, you know, I had to learn the computer side of things. I got to take my camera and shoot some footage of the worship stuff and like the messages and just create little montages of stuff like that. And that's when a lot of what my gift is, you know, it started kind of coming about. It really hasn't, it didn't really solidify it until 4 years ago. We launched Momentum Church, where I'm part of right now, and I was the only person doing everything. And from that day on until this was in, what are we, 2024? So yeah, 2020. I remember I was starting with an iPhone. So for those that are trying to do video or any type of video stuff and you guys don't have gear, start with an iPhone. Joey?
Yes.
We need to get you an iPhone.
I keep hearing, and it's becoming more and more convincing now that I need to get an iPhone.
So exactly. And so with an iPhone, I had a stabilizer. I had my camera. You know, I'm trying to figure out if I had my camera or not. Probably I didn't. You know, I probably was doing things with my iPhone now that I think about it. But I had my iPhone and my stabilizer, and I went to a realtor. Her name is Veronica Galvan. She was the first client that I was doing stuff on the side, and she asked me, hey, do you mind coming in and shooting a video for me? And it was during COVID times, right in the beginning. Yeah. And so I did my first realtor video with my camera, with my iPhone and my stabilizer, and I was like, hey, this is all I have. She goes, that's fine. She believed in me. She said, it's fine. Everybody starts somewhere. And so I ended up doing it, and from there on I started doing more videos with her, and then I got enough money to buy my first camera, and that's when I was doing a lot more work with my camera, and just over time, just consistently. Again, back in the day I was inconsistent. I started becoming more consistent on learning this stuff. YouTube is your best friend. If you guys, you know, I tell people, I'm like, if you don't know anything, just go to YouTube and search it.
My mother-in-law says that she's a graduate of YouTube University. She often will say that. She's like, I just got another certificate from YouTube University, because she'll go online and look up.
My husband tells me the same thing. If you want to learn how to fix something, just look it up and you can figure it out.
YouTube is your friend. You can get yourself a YouTube degree today.
Honestly, it's crazy the things that you can find. Like if you need to learn how to work something, how to do something, how to fix anything, that's where you go.
That's the reason why I feel old, though. I remember not being able to do that. Like I remember being in high school. This is random, but getting bit by a scorpion. And like I was up getting something from the refrigerator at 2 a.m, and I got bit by one. And back then I couldn't look up if it was poisonous or not. So I'm like, gotta take my chances. Yeah. But nowadays you can just look anything up. Like you look at a bug and you're like, oh, that's what it is.
Okay, we're good. I mean, even now with the sense of AI, where you can take a picture of it and it will give you the whole statistics. Yes. Like the way it's so advanced. I mean, we're old enough to remember Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh yeah,
and I don't even know what that is.
I hated those. I'm not a book person, so it was like,
So we'd have to gotta go look up this, see what this was, and go there and go through the Rolodex and look for information. But it's amazing the stuff that you could take from YouTube now, and you can, you know, with enough dedication, you can master something and learn a craft. Just by seeing those videos and those tutorials.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna ask you. You know, you were led to this, the church. Do you think your faith had a big part of what you're doing right now? Yeah,
I mean, definitely, you know, when I went through what I went through 6 years ago, I think it sometimes, a lot of the times I tell people this is that you can only get so far by yourself. Yeah. People can become so successful by yourself so far. But you'll never be satisfied. You'll never be happy. You'll never have joy, because the world won't give you that. You know, people won't give you that. Even my wife or anybody won't give me that love and care and joy that I need as a human being. God is the only one that can do that for you. And so when I finally decided, in those moments, I was in the lowest point of my life. So having to be in my lowest point of my life, all I had to do was to look up. And that's the thing with a lot of people, is they'll wait till they get to their lowest point of their life for something to happen, and I tell people now that aren't there yet, I'm like, hey, figure out this God thing now. Yeah. Let him be the one that guides you, and then he's gonna take care of you. When those hard times come, it's gonna be easier.
It's gonna all work out.
Exactly, yeah. Because if it wasn't for God putting me in those places, like, think about it. Like, people say it's coincidences. No. Mm-mm. The video on the intro video when I walked in, for it to be my drone footage, and for me, like, if that wasn't there, I don't think I would have stayed.
Yeah.
And I've been consistent at going at church. I've been consistent at serving and doing production, and I didn't get paid for this stuff. It was something that just came out of my heart to do because I loved it, and really my gift really just amplified as I was serving the church, as I was doing this. And especially when we launched Momentum Church in 2020, it was like 2019, my pastor came down, and that's when we started doing some meetings and going over what we were going to establish. And just now, 4 years later, I have a team of 15 to 20 people.
Wow.
Managing every Sunday, the live stream service, cameras, photos, videos, getting content, doing stage managing, which they make sure that everything runs smoothly, because we have 3 services on Sundays. And it's just like, I look back and I'm like, and I was actually just telling one of my editors last night. I told him, hey, the reason why this business is here is because it's God's business. It's not my business. It's not, he's allowed, he's given me something, and it's my responsibility to steward it correctly, to take care of it. And I'm not perfect. As a business owner, I'm not. I've messed up a lot.
Yeah.
In the past year, 2 years, I'm like, dude, like, this business thing is like, what the heck did I get myself into?
But how much do you grow from that? I mean, we all have had those moments, and Jackie and I have often talked about our lowest moments, even in radio, but we've grown from it, and you've grown from those experiences. And I think oftentimes from our failures, we can then let whoever else is getting involved in our industry to say, hey, look, we did this and it didn't work out for us. Maybe you try a different route, and it may work out better for you than it may have worked out for us. So through our mistakes become lessons to teach others a correct path, or even something that can lead them to a better success.
I think let's talk about going into the fact of like seeing you guys at the farmers market. I think I've known you, Jackie, for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. It has. I don't know for how long, but it's been a very long time.
Yeah, because I would always, every time I would see you anywhere, I'm like, hey, what's up?
Yes, exactly. You're just one of those people that's always been around. You know?
And so when my office is in downtown. I just got an office 2 months ago, and I usually Saturdays mornings I don't have really nothing to do, so I'll be editing. But what I do, I did a routine that my wife didn't know about, because she would work in the mornings, and I just confessed to her a couple weeks ago, because every week on Saturday mornings I would edit and then take a break, walk the farmers market, stop by at La Cocina Mexicana. I don't know if you've seen the food truck, the yellow one.
Yes.
Order a burrito from there. You gotta get the burrito a la Mexicana, like delicious egg and cheese a la Mexicana. Wait for my burrito because it takes a while because they're busy. I go walk around, and then if Stacked, the cookie company, is there, I'll get a cookie. And so it's like my little meal and dessert.
Awesome.
And I would take it with me, and I would go to my office and eat it. And she's like, you've been doing this for the past 2-3 weeks, and you don't even take me when I'm off? I'm like,
oh yeah, that's like, oh.
Isn't it cool though? Because I know how long have you been married for?
We are going on 2 years.
That's
Cheers.
so cool when you're like you're still learning about each other. You know what I mean? Like, I've been married for 10 years, almost 10 years in December, and it's cool, like little things that you're like, I didn't think to tell you that. Like, it's just something I've always done. That is so cool. So you're gonna start taking her for cookies and burritos?
Yes.
Oh, good.
I'm gonna try to see this Saturday if we can.
And we have video proof now, so she's gonna hold you to this.
I know.
She's gonna be like, hey, so you said you were going to, and you didn't, so
That's
gonna have a reference.
awesome.
So that day, that's what I was doing. I went to go get a burrito, and then I see you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, hey, I came by, and it was so funny. Then you were there, and I've never met you.
Nah.
I've heard you on the radio. I've listened to you on the radio. It's both of you guys, when I was in high school, my dad would call in to give me those birthday shout outs.
That's awesome.
And I'm like waiting in the car, like, or my dad was so funny. My dad was so funny. He would drive, and he goes, all right, let's listen to Hot 103. My dad's a Mexican.
Yes.
Okay. My dad doesn't know that much English. Like, he's learning, but like, he doesn't listen to English radio stations. So when we would listen to the radio station and it was Hot 103, we knew that it's somebody's birthday. He's probably gonna do a shout out. He's probably gonna do something, and so we would wait to listen. And like, oh, thank you, Dad. We appreciate it.
So awesome! I love that, Leo. That just made my day. Plus, it made me feel really old.
I know. I feel old. You know, and it's just crazy though, because then for all this essentially to come together, and I gotta say, man, you're truly amazing, and the gift that you have. I mean, even looking at some of the work that you've done with 633 Studios.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that and the name 633 Studios.
So the crazy, before I go any forward, I do want to shout out my team, because yes, it's me, but also God has provided a team these past couple of months where I have an editor, I have a guy that's doing what I'm doing, video editing and all that stuff, and then my wife as well. She's a big supporter of all this, and so shout out to them. So 2 years ago, a little bit over 2 years ago, actually 3 years ago, 2022, the beginning of 2022. Sorry. You know what? Let's go back to 2021.
Okay, yeah.
Because this is where it goes. So 2021, I was still doing some videos. I didn't have a camera at the time. I was doing some stuff with my phone still. And I remember Mateo's Mexican restaurant, if you guys know who they are.
Yes.
They ended up hiring me to do some footage for them. And they didn't have reels at the time. There was no reels. There was no videos that we're doing. And so I launched reels for them. I said, hey, guys, we need to do reels because it's what it's in right now. And I started doing reels for 2-3 months, and that's when we ended up getting their account 3,000-4,000 followers, and one of their videos blew up to 240,000 views.
Oh wow.
And it was great. I was like, wow, I learned a lot there fast, because it was video editing posted that same day. Like, it was a lot of that every single day. Towards the end of the year, there were some things that were changing in their business, and so I was like, okay, cool, we kind of went our own ways, and so nothing bad, to this day. I still go to Mateo's. My wife goes to Mateo's. We love Mateo's.
Every Thursday, Martine, he's in the back right now, making sure we sound good. He goes and gets his green enchiladas every Thursday. Thursdays, right?
So we can't find him on Thursdays. They're like, what time is it? Oh, he's getting his enchiladas.
He's getting his Mateo's enchiladas.
So we know he's downtown getting food.
Yeah.
So if you can't find Martine at 12:15 or around lunchtime, he's downtown.
There. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Side note.
I think their food was great, and so like I said, we still go. I still say I see them around. I'm like, hey, how are you guys doing and everything, and so the after that, going into 2022, I just had this itch. I'm like, man, like, I need to do my business. I need to do something with this, because I've been doing it now for 6 years, at the time 7. I'm like, I got to do something. And my wife, we're faith-based, we're a faith-based company. And my wife, when I met her, which, by the way, we can talk about this on another episode in the future, but we met through TikTok, me and my wife. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I want to learn more about this.
Yeah,
I think you just came up with our Valentine's episode.
There you go. We met through TikTok during the pandemic, so it was just that's a whole nother story we can talk about later. But she was in my life, and we were engaged at the time, and she was just like, we were long distance, right? And her verse that she would really focus on was Matthew 6:33, which was, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything will be added to it. What does that mean? It means that as long as you seek God, everything around you will be taken care of, and so she would always use that. And when I told her I want to start the business, she goes, why not Matthew 6:33 and I use that? And I'm like, okay, how would I use this? And I'm like trying to play around with the name, and then I was like, how can I separate the 6 and 33? Because in the Bible verse, it's 6.33. So I'm like, how do I do this? So I spelled out the name 6. I put the numbers 33, and then Studios was just, I believed, I didn't have a studio at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't have a building at the time, but I believed with faith, saying, I'm going to call it 633 Studios, because one day I'll have a studio. I have an office now. It's not completely like my whole thing, but that came about 633 Studios, and the foundation is God. And so that's really how that came about.
That's so cool.
And honestly, the first year that it came, that we launched it, I was still working at my regular job. I was selling DirecTV, Dish, and all that stuff, and I was doing this on the side. And when I started seeing that I was making more money on the side than my regular job, I was like, wait a minute, I think I need to do something.
Yes.
And this is what a lot of people are afraid of, and this is what I call a step of faith. December 1st of 2022, 9 days before getting married to my wife, I said, I'm going to take a step of faith and I'm going to do this full time. Nice. And I took that step of faith. I let go of my job that I was at for 9 years. When, I wasn't working anymore. Went to Houston because that's where my wife is from. We got married. And we went to our honeymoon. And I'm like, wait a minute. You're not working. I'm not working right now. How are we going to do this? I didn't have a savings. This is horrible. I didn't have a savings. I didn't have any of that stuff. But man, that month, I think God just blessed us with so much. Our wedding was taken care of. Like we got, everything was paid off by the day. We had some extra money, and I already had an apartment here waiting for us when we got married. And then at the end of the year, my wife came, and we survived the first year.
That's awesome.
That is amazing.
And now this year, I feel like we're in the beginning stages of something big.
Yes,
so,
definitely.
That is
cool.
Amazing. Yeah. And then I've seen, like, even on your social medias, which, by the way, you need to follow them on social media. They need to follow you on social media.
Yeah.
I see her that, even with the camera.
Yes, I think that's so awesome.
Yeah, so
You're
that's
psychic.
great. Yeah, so shout out to my wife, Karina Briseño, by the way. Yeah, so she at first wasn't about wanting to help me because she's like, this is your thing. Like, you do your thing. I'm like, okay. But this year, man, like, she really has just helped me out a lot. She helped me with one wedding last year, and that was kind of like our test run. But we just shot a wedding on Friday, and that was probably the most funnest thing I've had with my wife doing a wedding, because she was there. She did a little behind the scenes. I don't know if you guys got to see it, but she was like filming little parts. She lost a piece of my radio thing, and I'm like, dude, what's going on?
By the way,
awesome.
Doesn't it feel great to be driven around every once in a while?
Yes.
It does. So sometimes we deserve to be driven around.
I like being driven around all the time.
I know, but sometimes we deserve to be the passenger princess,
yes,
okay?
Exactly.
We deserve to be the passenger princess sometimes. I was watching your story, and I was just like, you know what? I can relate. I look at my wife, I was like, I think you need to drive me around sometimes.
Well, she drives like 90% of the time, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
Shout out to Cindy.
Yeah.
I think you got to have. I think it's a different perspective when you have your wife driving you.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm the one usually driving all the time, but for her to drive me, I'm like, oh.
I never drive Jim around ever. The one time I had to was in August when he broke his leg in San Diego. That was the only time, and that's straight from California here, no stopping. That was
so
was
you
intense.
made up some miles.
That
over the
was
years.
intense.
Wow.
But to see the dynamic between you and your wife, and I'm sure that's in a great time, because you guys are in this together and enjoying in one another's company, which oftentimes you don't hear people have fun or are not able to work with their spouses, and you guys are just, looks like you guys are having a blast.
Yeah, I think again, you guys have been married.
Yes,
the first year marriage is probably the hardest one. Even the second, probably the first 5 years is what I've heard. But this wedding, I think, just really made me realize, I'm like, man, like, you gotta come help me. Like, you gotta come do this.
Yeah.
She works at a job right now, and I told her, I said, the crazy part about this is what I told her too. I said she had to kind of like make some move things around so she can come with me on Friday. And the client that I had tipped us at the end. I was like, oh wow, thank you, appreciate it. The amount of money he tipped me was the same amount of money my wife would have made that day at her regular job.
Amazing.
And so I was like, yeah,
if that wasn't a sign.
Exactly.
That's
but
so cool.
she was handling the cameras, and she was even out there filming her, like, she was going and filming content. And I'm like, all right. And I look back at the footage now, and I'm like, wow, she did an amazing job.
That's
and
awesome.
So it's great, honestly. And she's gonna start helping me. We're going this weekend to 3 weddings this weekend.
Here's the ultimate test. We're doing 3 weddings.
Well, the good thing is, this is the first time this has ever happened at 633, where we have 2 weddings in one day. I have a team going to one wedding here.
Oh.
Me and my wife are going to Albuquerque, and then we're going to Ruidoso the next day.
Oh wow, y'all gonna be busy.
Yes, we're gonna be busy.
So we don't hear from you this weekend.
We
know why.
Exactly.
So do you want to touch on how you met on TikTok, or do you want to save that for another time?
I mean,
I just think it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know.
I mean, because, honestly, like, things have changed, obviously, from when we got married. I mean, we got married back in the 80s.
I connected through Facebook, and
Yeah.
I think like it was Jim was in high, like me and Jim knew each other in high school, but we reconnected through Facebook. So I think that's why I'm finding your story fascinating. Like I want to know how TikTok
Sure.
is. This is for the younger.
Our relationship was through MSN Messenger.
Oh my
This is
gosh.
but you guys are also close to the same channel.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's fascinating because they're different parts. You know what I mean?
That is-
And so like this is like the youth version of
Yeah.
like Facebook or MySpace.
Yeah, so what happened to me 6 years ago, I'll give you a short story,
Okay.
nothing crazy. I was a dad of twins. So that happened. I found out they're not mine, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's kind of what led me to go to God, all that stuff, right? And, you know, it was a process. It was my testimony, right?
Yeah.
But I never shared it online. I never, to this day, the other day was like, hey, how are your twins doing? I'm like, I don't have any twins anymore, guys. Like, but it's funny because I never made it public, right? I wasn't that type of person to just do that to my ex. But I never launched my testimony, I never shared it. And then in 2020, you know, everybody got stuck at home. So I started doing funny TikToks, doing all that stuff. And I'm like, da-da-da-da-da. And somebody had told me that lived, you know, from another state at the time. She goes, you need to use the platform that God has given you to share what He's done in your life. And I'm like, dang, okay. All these times I've used a platform like YouTube and all that stuff to do stuff for me. And this is the first time having to do something to share with everybody, you know? And so I made a video. It was April of 2020. I made a video and it was kind of sharing like what I've gone through. You guys can find it. I'm not on TikTok. I don't post as much anymore, but as soon as I posted it, I was like, well, you know, posted it, let it go. The next day it reached 10,000 people and I was like, whoa, okay, what's going on? Then the next few days it was like 100,000, 200,000. I'm like, whoa. 1,000 followers. Within the month, I gained 25,000 followers. My video reached about 800,000 people.
Oh wow!
And comments and likes and shares to the point that the song that I used on there, the artist of that song posted it on their social media, sharing like, hey, I want to meet Leo one day. Like
That's so cool.
Wow.
Crazy, right? And this video reached so many people. It got to a point where I was doing lives on TikTok. I had a friend and his name's Johnny Morales. He's now a famous TikToker, but he literally was doing lives on TikTok because everybody was on TikTok in 2020.
Yeah.
Like everybody, if you weren't on TikTok, like what are you doing, right?
Right,
Because we had all this time.
We were stuck at home.
We're
So,
locked up.
yeah.
Exactly. So he's on live doing TikTok lives with getting people that are on the live to go into a Zoom meeting and talk about things and stuff. And I'm like, what the? So I went on and I met him right on there, but it got me to being like to do like Bible studies on TikTok. I would bring people from the live stream to the Zoom and we would talk about things we're going through, like a community where we were going through stuff. We were just dealing with stuff. And so a lot of these people are from different states in the United States. And my wife came across it at the time. You know, my wife came across it. I had a group of friends around the states that were helping me with this Bible study every single week, every single month. And when it comes to everything, like me and her started talking here and there as friends. And so when it came to getting to know her, I wasn't like, oh man, like I want to date her. It was more just like, you know, we're just friends and that was it. And so we got to talk, we got to say things, you know, see what she does. It was funny because I wasn't trying to like be with anybody at the time. I was just doing whatever God wanted me to do that year in 2020. And so a few months go by and we got to start talking more. She became a really good friend of mine. She was part of my little core team for this Bible study we're doing every Wednesday. Wow. And so it was cool. Like it was nice, you know, having somebody that I can lean on as a friend. And over time, I think it just towards the summer or the fall, you know, I had gotten COVID. So we got a little closer as friends, and again, strictly friends. I never once was like, oh yeah, I like this girl, or I want to be with her.
You had to become friends first and know each other.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. And so I got COVID October of 2020. I felt like I was dying. Like it was the worst. I was like, oh my gosh. Like I don't know if you guys got COVID.
Twice. Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, and so it was horrible. And so she knew, and she went ahead and sent me a care package.
Oh.
As a friend.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, I received it. I'm like, bro, like no girl has ever done that for me ever in my life.
Cool.
And she's just a friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, okay. And so she gave me a little letter, and I was just like, okay, you know. she had told me she liked me, but I told her, I said, girl, I'm kind of in my single season. I would say it a lot. I'm in my single season.
Hot
right?
girl summer.
Hot girl summer.
Like no, I'm not trying to be with anybody.
Yes.
But no, she stuck around. You know, she knew that, she respected that, and towards the end of the year, we actually stopped talking. You know, we felt like we were too involved with each other. We're like, no, like we can't do this.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was just us being afraid of something good.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I let her go, and it was hard. I was, you know, I was sad because I was like, dang, like, but it made me realize I love this girl as a friend.
Yeah.
As a friend. Not the same, not the love that's like, you know, cute, whatever, or any of that stuff, but like the love that just God gives us, like that's how I felt with her as a friend.
So do you feel like, because I did long distance, you know, for a very long time with Jim, do you feel like having that long distance relationship made you learn more about each other? That's how I felt. That's what solidifies, I think, a relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
You get to
Because
step back and just learn each other, and you get to trust the process.
you can't, you're not hanging out in
Yeah.
person. It's a lot of talking back and
You
forth.
appreciate when they call. You don't want to get off the phone.
Yeah. So so yeah, we would go have a lot of. She comes from so I'm Christian, she's Christian, but there's different denominations.
Yes.
Pentecostal. So she comes from that side, and so it was funny because we would have debates.
That
Me
is
and her
so
would
cool.
she's like telling me some Bible verse, I'm like, no, but this is what the context is, and we're like going back and
Yeah.
forth. And so yeah, at the end of the year, we let go of each other. But then, this was the funny part, is that we had kind of stopped talking, all that stuff, and then she responded to my story, and I said, hey, we're not supposed to be talking, like what the heck, you know. But then I said, you know, if she responds back to my message, I'm gonna FaceTime her. At the same time, kidding not, she told me that at that time she said, if like, Lord, I don't want to call him, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
If he FaceTimes me, I'll answer.
How weird.
Dude.
That's
Wow.
so cool.
I mean,
Like-
you can't. It's,
Yeah, and so it happened.
How
and
cool.
and we talked, like, hey, what's up? And it was
Hey,
a funny.
God sent me.
Yeah, and she was just like, whatever, you know. It was
That's
crazy.
so
It was how everything
cool.
worked out. And I told my pastor at the end of the year, I was like, hey, pastor, like, found this girl. She's a friend. You know, I don't know what to do. I really want to meet her, but I don't know, you know, because he's walked with this with me, you know, since 6 years ago. And so then he had said, you know what, like, he was long distance with his wife. They met long distance
That's
as well.
cool.
And they're a part of the same denomination that my wife was. And so it was like, okay, he already had an idea how all this works. And he goes, look, go visit her, but talk to the dad first. Don't just go.
smart. That's smart.
Talk to the dad, see what he says, go visit her, and then see how things work out. So I told her, hey, I'm going to go visit you. February of 2021, I went to go visit her, met her for the first time, and that was crazy.
That's so
Because
cool.
you're meeting somebody that you've seen on a screen for the past 10 months.
Yeah.
Or almost a year, actually. And I remember it was like a movie.
That's so
I'm in the airport
cool.
waiting, and I'm like, you know, just there, and I don't know where she's coming from. And then I just see this girl running from the
cute.
hallway to me, and she comes and she just hugs me, and I was just like, bro, this is crazy.
That is so cool.
Like,
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
That is
yeah.
so
And I was, you know how people say you were in cloud 9 when you're in love and all. No, I felt very like lightheaded, because I was like, dude, I don't even know, like, how is it? I'm
This
confused.
happening, huh? Yeah.
At the end of that weekend, I ended up asking her to be my girlfriend. Told my father-in-law now, hey, I want to date your daughter. He's like, okay.
That's so
Yeah,
That
cool.
is
so the rest is- yeah.
amazing.
How cool.
How is this not made into a movie?
That's what a lot of people.
This is a
Yeah.
movie. This is the
I love it.
Lifetime back off. Okay. This is his story,
That
okay?
is so cool.
Yeah, and so the funny part about it is that we got started dating February of 2021. We got engaged February of 2022.
Nice.
I went to go visit her and we got engaged, and then 10 months later, December of 2022, we got married.
That is so
And
awesome.
yeah,
That is
it's
amazing.
crazy. It's crazy. A lot of people are like, dang, that's fast. But when you know, like, I knew this
Yeah.
was my wife.
Yeah.
I knew this is who was gonna be my wife. And yeah, to this day, I'm just like, we look back at that time, I'm like, dang, like, I can't believe we met each other on TikTok.
That's so
like,
cool. Yeah.
That's a trip, you know.
That is an amazing story, and
Yeah.
especially to just see how that, and especially with everything that was going around that time, and you know, with COVID 2020, everybody's at home, and you know the situation that you had going on, and then everything that just leads to it. I mean, man, this really is a movie. This is a movie that needs to be made one day, and you can probably direct it too. So.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe I do have you know, we do want to get into films, so
Yeah, that's
we'll
so
see.
cool.
We'll see.
So what is you mentioned films? What is next for 633 Studios? Because I know you guys have a lot of projects, and you guys are really in their community. Where do you guys see yourself going in next?
We definitely see our team growing. We do a lot of weddings. We do a lot of social media marketing for clients, but we really just see us expanding and getting bigger. We want to our little space that we have right now, it's like we're overflowing. Like there's so many. I had my editor, my other guy yesterday, my wife, and me in a little corner, and I'm like, dude, we need to get a bigger space. But on the way over here, you know, me and my pastor were talking because I was just in Big Spring, Texas, and he said, you know, your business next year is going to blow up. And I'm like, all right, I believe it. Like, I see it. And, you know, and honestly, just really just focus on growing. My biggest thing with 633 is the reason why I created it is because I wanted to expose the small businesses, not in a bad way. Like, let people know who the big business, who the small businesses are, so that people know who they are. Because a lot of Las Cruces, we were talking about Las Cruces in the beginning of the podcast. A lot of my friends left Las Cruces, New Mexico because they didn't see what Las Cruces, New Mexico has, like the opportunity that it has, because they went to go find another opportunity somewhere else, which is great. But really, there's a lot of opportunities here, especially right now. And Las Cruces is special. And I feel like, you know, we're about to see Las Cruces become something that's just like bigger than what we would have imagined, you know, because of all the things that are happening. And so I think, you know, to be able to be in this space, being able to help small businesses and honestly help you guys too. Like, I'm going to go back to what I wanted to share is, you know, I listened to Hot 103 since I was a little kid. I remember in my bedroom in a trailer, I had my little radio with little speakers, cassette tape, CD player, gray. I remember how it was. Yeah, I was sitting.
So awesome.
It was in front of me, and you know, I was listening to Hot 103. I was listening to DJ Black and Damien at the time, and it was just like the Who Ride, all this stuff. And I'm like, bro, like I was just it was my entertainment at the time. I was listening to the radio, listening to them, and I would call in and just when they would ask to call in, and I'm like calling in as a little kid. I'm like, hey guys, like, can you guys play this song? Like it was like all this stuff, and so being a part of Hot 103 and listening to them from back then. And then seeing you guys, your big show for the past, you know, 10 plus years, I just love the fact that I'm able to be a part of this with you guys, to be able to share people. Because when I told people I was going to be working with you guys, they're like, well, they saw your guys' videos and they're like, that's them? I've never seen them. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, it's a nostalgic feeling to be able to see you guys like on a video, on, you know, on these podcasts, the real you.
We couldn't have been able to do this though, because I mean, you really encouraged us to do this. And this is a big. I know for us, it's a stepping out of our comfort zone.
Well, we recently, like we had said before in another episode, we went to San Diego and did a morning show boot camp, something we've been wanting to do forever. And this stuff that we're doing right now is exactly what we learned we needed to be doing. And so when you just popped up like a week after we went at the farmer's market, it was like, God, you know, have you ever seen Zoolander where he gets a water bottle? God, that's exactly what we felt, because we're like, we both looked at each other like, how in the world is this like,
and we're like
just walking up?
How did this happen?
Yeah.
Like, we're like, there is no way. And I'm glad we were where we were at the farmer's market that day, because, and keep in mind, whenever we do those broadcasts at the farmer's market, we're on the other side of the farmer's market.
Yeah.
So the fact that weekend specifically, they said, we're going to put you on that side of the farmer's market to broadcast. So things really just line up in the way that everything comes together.
You are a blessing to us, Leo. We appreciate that.
And honestly, you've been so good to us and a really good friend to us, man.
Yes.
You're a part of our family now. You're a part of this that you've helped us do, and we thank you for all that you do, man. And you know, we look forward to the many successes that 633 Studios is going to have and your staff.
If someone wants to get a hold of you, because you do what kind of like videos, like weddings,
events, we're very big big on like behind the scenes. So like corporate events, we're actually going to be doing a lot of that stuff in El Paso right now.
Nice.
Where like if a company has events and like they want to be able to capture what happened in that event,
Yes.
or just like commercials for their company, or weddings, or they want to be able to increase their social media to get more followers, more engagement. Like we do a lot of those things, and so yeah, I mean really just on Instagram, Facebook, they can reach out to us there. They can click the link on our bio. It has all our information on there.
Nice.
But yeah, it's like I said, I'm hoping to get a building one of these days.
You're gonna get it.
It's gonna happen.
Yes.
I believe it, and so when I get that building, I want to be able to create a space not only for my business,
Yes.
but for other creatives out there that are really trying to start their own business, where I didn't have the equipment at the time to edit, to do all this stuff, right?
Yes.
But to be able to provide equipment for other people to use for their creative, gifts that they have. That's what I want to be able to build here in Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Well,
It is
Leo, thank you so much for not only doing this, but taking the time, because like you're taking a lot of time out of your day as well,
Yes.
being
I know,
here.
and we just appreciate you wanting to be a guest. We know it was going to be tough to
Yes.
book this guest.
But do you have any like shout outs? Do you want to shout out anyone?
Yeah, I want to shout out Joey and Jackie because they're amazing people.
Oh, thank you.
I definitely want to shout out Raul from Select Realty. He's the owner of the space that I'm in downtown. If you guys need a realtor, that's the people to go to because they're amazing. They're family based.
Oh, nice.
Firm, and the people that Raul, their family works in there. So it's beautiful to see them be a part of this, and like I love being in there. You guys were there
Yes,
one day,
it's a beautiful building too, like an
Beautiful.
office area.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
So then for sure.
Oh, I went to high school with Raul. That's so
yeah.
funny. That's right. I just remember them all. Wait up.
So then for sure, and then of course my pastor Carlos from Momentum Church. If you guys are looking for a church, we're meeting every Sunday 9, 10:30 for English, and then 12. We have 3 services, and so they can look us up
Nice.
on Instagram, social media. It's a very diverse church. It's crazy. We so many new people are coming in. We actually expanded our buildings because we were getting about 300-400. Now we're up to like 600-700 people
wow.
on a Sunday. Yeah, so it's crazy, and we have a lot of young people. So
That's
the young people out
awesome.
there that are watching this, we want you guys to come. It's amazing. And then I'm trying to think of who else. I think I don't know for sure. Like I said, I appreciate you guys. I'm grateful for you guys.
We're
and
grateful for you.
I'm just glad that people are now able to see, who you guys are, and I think it's amazing. I've been seeing a lot of people been liking this podcast, and I just, I'm excited for the future. I'm excited who else you're gonna have here. The guests you're gonna have.
We're excited for the many appearances you'll be making on here as well.
Come on,
that you have just got our minds going now because there will be a Valentine's episode
I know,
that you and your wife
you and
will
your
have
wife,
to be here
yeah.
because we would want to hear her side of the story as well, and just everything that goes on with you. We appreciate you, man. You don't understand, and just we're so excited. I mean, we look forward to these days, podcast days, when we know we're going to see you. We're like, okay, and then we make sure that we leave you caffeinated so you get enough coffee.
Guys, Jackie literally, what she does is she gets me a Trenta or a huge coffee, and I'm like, girl, like I can't even finish this. Like this is gonna give me.
You don't drink coffee the way we do, Leo. I'm so sorry. My husband only gets the Trentas, and then sometimes we'll do 2. And so, like, our caffeine levels are pretty high.
It really is. So you'll have a pretty good day today.
Yes.
You're going to get a lot done today.
Yeah, we'll get it
Well,
done.
thank you, Leo,
Yes.
so much.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Guys, this has been another edition of Big Show on the FM. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, you can follow us on Instagram. And remember, of course, you can catch the audio version on Spotify as well. Search for Big Show on the FM. And once again, a big shout out to our friends at 633 Studios. Make sure you give them a follow as well. And make sure you stay connected with all the projects they have going on, as well as all the stuff we have going on the Big Show on the FM. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week.